This is- Hello, good morning, good evening. It's me, Tia Rogers, guys, and I'm here back as promised, like I said, for the Father's Day celebration 2021. I am at La Unique African American Bookstore and Cultural Center with Mr. Larry Miles. And just going to touch base on a couple of things in fatherhood, as he is a father um, and grandfather, great grandfather, right? Yeah. So um, I'm going to introduce you to Mr. Larry Miles. Let me turn my camera around, guys. Uh, Good afternoon, Mr. Miles. How are you doing? Thank you for accepting my invitation to interview you for this Father's Day 2021 celebration.
Good afternoon. You're welcome. Glad that I'm able to share some thoughts with you concerning fatherhood. Um, Fatherhood is, to me, is a precious thing, though we are not often recognized uh, in the realm of a fatherhood in terms of the relationship. I have to say this between Father's Day and Mother's Day, we are sort of left down. However, we play a very important role in our family, especially with our male. And of course, believe it or not, a lot of people don't really realize we play a very important role to our female as well. A good father is a father to not just his sons, but also to the daughters, because he must be able to relate to his daughters how he treats the ladies and how ladies must be treated. Daughters grow up to be young ladies, and of course, they require certain treatment. And we must teach them to look for the specifics and how they should be treated and what to look for from a man. And that man happens to be our sons. So therefore, we got to teach our sons how to be good young men. There are a lot of things in the home that sons are being neglected from, and that is many fathers today, because of technology, does not have the time to spend with their sons. But I think that we should all revert back to the old fatherhood household where the father was the ruler, and he dictated to his family. He had control with his family, and he was able to teach his sons right from wrong. Today it's very difficult for a father or son to embrace his son, to kiss his son, to let him know that he loves his son, and likewise to engage his son in the fact that he should love his father. Now, a father does a lot for them, and many of them don't realize he's the man. He's the man of the house. Yes, he's also the provider of the house, and a good husband, which is a good father as well, provides for not only the house but all the contents of the house, which includes all the living contents, the mother, the children, the grandchildren, etc. And being a father and grandfather, and hey, I'm happy to say a great grandfather, I enjoy that. I enjoy sharing what little I have with all of my Australians. But the most important thing I think that we miss today is that contact with our sons, teaching him the right and wrong, teaching him how to respect his friends and family, and more importantly, the elders who can help him and direct him and make him a better person. You know, the father is, as I said, is the head of the house, but it really takes a village. And the village is not just the village of men and women, but more importantly, the village of men who is able to guide and direct the boys in the directions of becoming good men in order to become elders. Uh, there's so much crime going on today, and our fathers, many fathers know what's happening, and they have either they're afraid to talk and approach their children, their boys, about this situation, or they just see it, hear it, and say nothing. And that's a very poor attitude to take if that is the case. And I'll put an emphasis on that if that is the case. But fathers, you got to go get your sons and start with them at infancy. You know, in Africa, you raise a son up and joy, the village will be very happy about it. You know, you raise him to the sky. You know, you present him to the people. We don't do that. This is something we need to do. They enjoy and embrace their sons with love. They embrace their sons with knowledge. You know, much too often we find out that our wives are pregnant and they are going to have a boy. And the first thing we want to say is, well, we got a football player coming, or we got a basketball player coming. And we never think about educating that boy to become a young doctor, lawyer, engineer, scientist, what have you. And even if we did that, what do we do to help that young man to direct him in that route? We're not doing it because we don't take the time. Yes, we do have the time. You only need about half hour, 45 minutes a day to sit down and talk with that young man and help to direct him into the direction in which he should go. Read about what you should do for your sons. Read how you should direct your sons to become better people. We're all good people, but there are things in the road, as there are bumps in the road, that will cause you to change. More importantly, what we have to do today is work with our young folk. Fathers, work with your sons. When your son come in, if you chastise him because he has done something wrong, after you have done that, call him over, embrace him, give him a kiss on the jaw, on the head, anywhere. You know, let him know, hey, I did this because what I did to you, I did it because I love you. And I'm showing you that I'm loving you because I'm embracing you. And that son should be able to return the same to the father. We don't do that. We're so disconnected. And it's sad that the fathers are not connecting themselves with their sons. And I'll put again, and their daughters. You know, let's not take a daughter and make her the princess of the family without taking that son and making him a prince of the family. And you can only do that through love, education, and I don't mean giving them the world. Give them what they need and not what they want. And this is what's happening today. Our young folk get what they want, and as a result of that, they turn out to be street gang members. When they can't get what they want, they figure a way how to get it, and the poor people out in the street have to suffer for it. So with that, I think, I think there's enough there to help any father to take a step to move forward towards becoming, if you're not a better father, but becoming a stronger father, because it is very, very important. Get some books for them to read and discuss the books with them. You read the book, fine tune it, and then discuss the subject with your sons. This is what you got to do. We need to get to our sons. Today, there are too many of our young folk dying. Dying how? With gunfire. And why? Because parents know that they have guns, but they're doing nothing about it. Fathers get the guns away from your sons so that we can have a new generation. Because what we're doing now, they're killing the new generation. We speak about the European Americans who are genocide. No, it's not the European Americans that's doing it. We are doing it. Yes, it's the equipment that they make, but we are using that equipment to exterminate our own. And it's all the young folk that are being killed today. And fathers, get your sons. Fathers, talk to your sons. They got a gun, take it from them. Be a man, take it from them and destroy it.
Can I interject on that one thing there just to get your advice? Say because we do have a high rise of young Black men killing other Black men, minority men, period. What do you say when the young man tells you that he's afraid to walk the streets without a gun? He's afraid to go out to leave from his home, to go to do whatever it is that he is going to do. How do you address that issue with your child? Should that be the case?
Well, that is a problem. That is a very serious problem. However, that problem wouldn't exist if the fathers could get the guns away from them. See, if this is something that had began in the early stages when the young folk was out there with the guns, the fathers knew, and I'm sure many of the fathers did know, and removed those guns from their homes, from their boys, the kids would not fear walking the streets because there would be no guns out there. I mean, the family has a lot to do with this. And of course, the money that they get to buy these guns, well, I don't know how they're getting it, but I think that is one of the problems, and I can understand the fears that the young men have, because I myself have fear, even when I drive down the streets, because I don't know when a stray bullet is going to go through my car windshield. So everybody, I think, today have fear because of the guns that are out there. And I say to the politicians, especially the African American politicians who are in Washington, we have the Black Caucus, and none of them are really standing up to fight for a law to get rid of the guns, to have real gun control. Even Texas can pass a law that you can carry a gun, This doesn't make sense when the federal government can allow a state to pass a law to carry guns, and when we need to eliminate it. So we have a problem that doesn't only exist in the home, but it goes all the way up to the federal government. And until that can be eliminated, it can be resolved, we're going to forever have fear in our young folk in terms of, will I be able to go outside without getting killed? And why is this anger so bad? Although I think may sound ridiculous, but I think there's something in the atmosphere that's tricking the minds of the young folk. That's creating this beastly warrior mentality. Kill, and otherwise I don't see a real reason for it. But until something is done politically, and one other thing I blame, of course, some of them are trying. The churches are not really doing a job that should be done, because they should be crusaders out in the streets, more so into the homes, talk to the family members. I remember coming up as a kid, my pastor used to come to the church, come to our house. If he, of course, I'm very happy to say that there was no problems. Because my mother would go up on my butt like white on rice if I did something wrong. But if there was something wrong, he would come to the church and would come to the house and discuss it. This is what he did. Today, they don't have time in their chauffeur-driven cars. Where is the churches today? You know, we don't have that type of community relationship. You know, it's like we talk about the village. We don't have villages anymore. If you're wrong as a kid coming up as I was, police didn't lock you up. He'd take you home to your parents. I mean, you got home to your parents, you got, can I say what I want to say?
Yes,
you got
you
your
can
ass
say
whipped.
you can
you
say
know?
what you want to say.
You got your ass whipped. And you know, they're going, well, you weren't going to do it anymore because if it was the police take you home, a neighbor's going to do it. And the neighbor might whip your ass and take you home and your mother gets you again. And I said, my mother, my dad wouldn't beat me. He wouldn't beat me. He beat me once and that was it because he hit me with a buckle. And I'll never forget that. He hit me with a buckle and I yelled, Mama, what happened? Dad hit me with a buckle. And he and her had it out. Argument. Yeah. You don't do it. Okay. Well, and I felt sorry because he didn't do it purposely. The buckle slipped. You know. And but the point is, we don't have discipline in the home. And when the government came out with the laws on child abuse, they went to the extreme. There is such thing as child abuse, but there's also child discipline, which should be used. You know, and there's a difference. You don't have to abuse a child for discipline. Hey, smack his butt. It's not being abusive. But when you go on whip them to the point where you got whelps and bruises and broken bones and stuff like that, then you're supposed to take those parents and put the stick to them. But the kids need to be done. Hey, Jake, want to see you?
That's okay. I kind of hold on, guys. We froze a little bit here, and we're going to take it back to Mr. Mouse. We froze a little bit. It happens. So, were you done?
I don't know what else I could say.
Okay.
Questions?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of touch base on something I went over yesterday, on a person's perspective of their reality. You just shared yours with all of us, and there may be some that may differ, but I wanted to know your take on what does it truly mean to be an ambassador of your bloodline, because of a mother and a father, grandparents. They're the ambassadors, and as the torch is being passed, do you think that when it's time for the torch to be passed to the next generation, will we be able to carry on our old ways, or have we gotten too far away from that?
Well, you know, that's a good question, because I also think about the passing the torch. You know, really, I think that passing the torch should be done each generation. However, I realize there are certain things that are going to be dropped because the world we live in, you know, it changes. Modern technology, you know, causes us to change. But I really think that we should, and you know, all the young folk would tell you, well, that was back there in your day. But that's because they were never really taught about what happened in my day, you know, and just listen to me so I can tell you about what happened during my day and how it happened and how things have changed because of technology today, you know. So yes, I think families should sit and talk about the past, yeah, of the families. You know. I'm not talking about anything else, but except the families. What happened in the families? You know? There are many things they call skeletons in the closet. You don't want to talk about a skeleton in the closet? Don't talk about it. But talk about the positive things that took place, when you were young, you know, and when you grew up. at what you did. Yes, I think the torch should be passed to generation to generation with the history of it.
Um, in reference to success, I'm just going to read a quote that I read previously, but I'm going to read it again. It was from one of our leaders, Chanel Kinsley Parks. And the quote is, the best way to success is to put your head down and get to work, no matter the weather, no matter the harvest. In reference to fatherhood, how does that, how could that apply to fatherhood, the family, the overall community itself?
Well, I think that application is one that can be applied very, I was going to say easily. It can be applied uh, if you are able rather to communicate with, as a husband, your wife, as a father, your children.
Okay,
Be able to
hold on. Sorry, I froze. So you hold on, guys. Here we go. We froze a little bit there. Now we go back. As the father, you said.
as a father, you got the husband first,
Mm.
the husband, the wife, as a father. Yes, I think that. Wait, what question was now?
The
Uh,
question was, how do you think? How does it apply to families in our community today and the generations moving forward? The best way to success is to put your head down and get to work, no matter the weather, no matter the harvest.
Right. Exactly. The father knows what he has to do in the home. He's got to be outside working, and he's also got to be productive in the home. And he has to be positive about it. Any problem that comes up, I can get it done. Wife should feel the same way. And the children should be taught that there's no mountain that you can't climb or go through by being positive and working toward it. You have to work hard to get what you want, to accomplish what you want. I know this, and I know this for
Sorry. Sorry, it was a phone call. I would find it.
yeah, you must work hard to succeed. So I think that will work very, very well. And he'll say, what's that? Buckle down and buckle up and get it done.
Any advice to the young parents coming up? As we know, we as young people, we face challenges, and sometimes how do we continue our role as a parent, father or mother, and from your perspective, because you're a father, should the relationship between the mother and the not work out, um, what advice would you give our young men today where they can save themselves, save their families without having a judicial courts in and just the treatment of one another? I'm I guess what I'm trying to say is the level of respect that they should have towards the partner that is the other parent of their child when they have disagreements.
Well, one of the most important things there is, well, two, but one of the most important things there is communication. To be able to talk to each other and not talk over each other, so that two people cannot talk together. This way you hear, understand, and digest what is being said. Number two, courts should never be involved. Should never be involved. That is one of the big problems we have today, because first thing a mother wants to do is run to the judge. Why should a judge take control of your family? When if you sit and talk intelligently, and you may not be an intelligent person, but the conversation can be intelligent, you know. Sit and talk and listen to each other, and then put your tools on the table and say, this is what we're going to do to work together and make this thing work. you know, and you can work on that child, get that child straight, and you over here, hello, I don't want, no, 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 no. We're gonna work together on this, you know. Now, if what I do is wrong, okay, we'll discuss it. But don't tell me, no, I can't, you know. I'm not gonna tell you you can't either, but I'll discuss it if it's wrong, and then we'll come together and find out, okay, this is why it's wrong, we'll do it this way then, you know. You gotta have that understanding. And that goes through with the children who has children and they have a parent, grandparent or grandparents, you know, to be able to listen to the grandparents. I don't think grandparents should dictate to them, but the grandparents should tell them, be able to tell them which is right, which is wrong, and let them evaluate. And then they can say, well, look, if you feel that, why don't you talk to sister or so and so, or cousin so and so, or aunt so and so, and you know, let this be a family affair. We aren't going to take it over here to the courtroom, you know, or we're not going to take it over to our girlfriend or boyfriend. Let it be within the family. That's what families are for.
Well, I thank you very much for your input.
Well, you're most welcome. I hope it to be something that, well, that's acceptable.
Well, I think we've done a very good job so far because, as you know, many that are watching this, they don't know how you have mentored many young people that have come through La Unique African American Bookstore and Cultural Center in various ways, in partnerships with different organizations in the city that also work with youth to provide them that structure or that family village environment that you know that you talk about and that we try so hard to keep going, even though we face challenges. Um, what was I going to say? Any advice that you would like to give to a new mother, a new father, starting out? You're, you know, children don't come with instructions,
No.
and life is going to happen.
Right.
Life is going to happen on life terms. So, what advice can you give new fathers coming up to help them navigate through some of the life challenges that they may face in the future as they're raising their children? Because sometimes children are used as pawns in relationships.
Well, I think one of the most important things is, again, I said before, love your children, take care of their needs and not their wants. Don't be a giver of something you want them to have because you want them to have it, you know. And this, because I've said this to a lot of young folks, when you do that, as they grow up, they know, well, I'm going to get this because dad or mommy's going to get it for me. But then when they grow up and become young men, and this supply, I may use the term, is cut off from them, and they go out there and say, I got to have this, you know, and then they figure out a way how they are going to get it on their own, and which leads them into those bars, you know, or into the box, you know, because they got to have what they have been used to having, and they can't afford to get it, and nobody's giving it to them anymore. So they got, but they now they got to get it the best way they can. You know, parents should not do that. Give them what they need. You know, sure, you can give something occasionally. You know, it's like having dinner. Occasionally, you have some dessert. You know, but to say, well, I want to get this, I want to get this. Oh boy, you gotta have that, gotta have that. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Don't do that because it's not good. Because that kid is gonna grow up, and all it has to do is grow up and miss. Well, you know, mom or dad, they used to give me this all the time. Now I can't afford to buy it myself. These fancy sneakers, and I got to go out and hustle and get these sneakers. Right? But whose fault is it? Parents' fault.
Well, is it really all? I don't think it's totally all the parents' faults when if the child is old enough to make a decision.
No, 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 no. You hear what I said? it's just like if you have uh, uh, a I want to say if you have I'm trying to get something out of the human aspects of it. Oh, let's say this. You got a puppy, and that puppy or a dog, and that dog, you train that dog to know that a certain time you're going to give it a treat, and at a certain time of day, he will come either bark at you or look at you, expect that treat, and don't get that treat. The dog might get angry at you, right?
Mhm.
Now, what is it going to do? I mean, uh, unlike a human, he can't go out and get that treat, but he's going to be angry. The same thing with a human being. You've been giving him and giving him and giving him, and now it's been cut off. Well, the proof of the pudding. You look at the Europeans who have given their kids all their life, and then all of a sudden they say, boom, they cut it off. And what happened? They end up going up being drug addicts and all that stuff because they can't get what they had in the past. You know, parents cut their money off, so you got to go and get it the best way they can. This
Good
is what I'm
point.
this is what I'm relating to,
Okay. Good point.
and that's a fact. You know, I mean, if they can't get it what they used to getting, then they're going to get it some kind of way.
Right. Okay. Well, I thank you very much, and I think you did a wonderful job. I'm going to turn this around to
Well,
me. All
I'm
right.
happy to have been uh, able to do that. And one thing I will say, I said to a lot of friends of mine, you know, I got a lot of sons out there and never been with the father with their mothers. And believe me, they look. A couple of days ago, I had a visitor. What was it, Sunday when I told you Craig came over? He and his girl came over, and boy, and he always he gives me a hug and a kiss. Dad, I love you. I love you, Dad. I love you, Dad. When he bought his house, he told me, he said, I got a place for you and a place for my mom. I've never met his mother. I've never seen her. Pop, this is he ain't gonna be Pop, it's gonna be Dad. You know, Dad, he says, I still got that room over there for you. You know, the only difference you got to go up a few steps and then a few steps and then a few steps. You got a huge house in West Philadelphia, beautiful home, you know. But beloved, and I already embraced me. I'm sitting over there because they bought me dinner. I thought we were going to go out earlier because they got there late. So she ordered me a meal in.
It's recording.
Is you recording?
Yes. So we're gonna wrap this up. I was trying to, but then you were talking. Okay. Well, people need to understand. They get to see the other side of
Right.
Mr. Larry Miles, of the
Right.
owner, solopreneur of La Unique African American Cultural Center, and what is this? Cultural Center and Bookstore, right? Yeah, I did that right. Okay. Yes, bookstore and cultural center. I'm being corrected. But I just wanted to thank you all for joining us. And thank you, Mr. Miles, for allowing me to interview you for the Father's Day. And I wish you a wonderful, blessed, happy Father's Day.
When is Father's Day?
Father's Day is June 18th, I believe it is. I think it's 2 weeks from now. So, guys, with that being said, as always, I tell you, you know, go for your dreams. Don't let anything stop you. Family over everything. Fathers, you're just as important as mothers. And what did I title this? What did I say? Yeah, fathers, go get your sons. Mr. Larry says, go get your sons, fathers. So, with that being said, I'm going to go and I'll see you on the next Father's Day Celebration 2021 interview. Thank you and have a blessed day, everyone. Bye.
Oh, you